The last part of our exponent property notes for the first two standards is combining multiple properties and then simplifying to get just one answer with one coefficient and one variable. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, just like when you talk about, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or order of operations, any parentheses with an exponent on the outside is going to go first. So we'll deal with just this part of the problem first. This is on page 5 of the notes packet, about halfway through the page. So our squared is going to go to the 4, and it's also going to get multiplied times that 3. When I give it to the 4, however, be careful, I'm giving it to the exponent, not multiplying 4 times 2. And then x, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, before I add in that other little piece that's underneath my finger, I'm going to figure out what 4 squared is. 4 squared is 16, and then x to the 6th. Now let's bring down what I've got over here on the other side. 2x to the negative 4. Okay, if I see multiplication, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the numbers. The big coefficient numbers, 2 times 16. 2 times 16 is 32. And then I'll add my exponents. So if I see multiplication, I multiply the coefficients, I add the exponents. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So x to the 2nd power. Okay, let's practice that again. We're going to do the exponent first that's outside this parentheses. So same kind of a thing. I'll go ahead and cover this part up with my finger. You can grab a sticky note and cover it up with a sticky note and not worry about that until I'm done with this power to a power. Okay, so my coefficient of 2 is going to get an exponent of 3. And then x multiplied 2 times 3, that's 6. Now before I uncover what's underneath my sticky note here, I'm going to figure out what 2 to the 3rd power is. So 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 again is 8. So this is 8 x to the 6th. Now let's go ahead and bring down this other piece. That's multiplication in between there. So I'll multiply my coefficients and I'll add my exponents. So when I multiply 3 times 8, that gives me 24. X, 6 and a negative 3 is 3. This is a good time for you to pause this video, and try questions 3 and 4 on your own before hitting the play button to see if your answers are correct. Cover up. We'll do the parentheses part first. Number 2 gets an exponent of 2. And then x, multiply those exponents to the 14th. Let's figure out what that is. 2 to the 2nd power is 4. X to the 14th. Bring down what we've got in the front here, which is 2x to the negative 12. 2 times 4 is 8. X to the, we're going to add these two exponents together. Negative 12 plus 14 is 2. Last one, we'll go ahead and cover this up. Hopefully you tried this and you're done with the question already. 3 gets an exponent of 3. X gets an exponent, multiply those two numbers together, of negative 12. 3 to the 3rd power is 27. Do check to make sure you know how to get that on a calculator. 3 to the 3rd power. In the last video, we showed you to use this upside down V button on your calculator. usually right above the add, subtract, multiply, divide. And then we'll go ahead and bring down our 5x to the fourth. So we'll take 5 times 27. That's going to be a big number. 5 times 27 is 135. 135. And then I'll add my exponents together. 4 plus negative 12 is negative 8. Now we don't ever want to just leave a negative 8 exponent. Okay? Anytime you have a negative exponent, we want to move that down to the denominator. So this is the first time that you will have seen a negative exponent on the 4 problems here. So we're going to finish it up by leaving the 135 on the top and moving the x to the 8th down to the denominator. Now we're good. Now we're finished. Okay, the last piece of standard 26 and 27 is that we're just going to figure out what value of x would make the two statements that you see equivalent or equal to each other. Okay? So let's look and see what happened from the left side to the right side. So on the left side, there's a letter A, and on the right side, there is not. So what exponent would make a variable just disappear? And the answer is anything to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power will be gone. We kind of cross it out. We don't even think about it because it just makes that a 1. So 12 times 1 is still 12, so it didn't change the answer. So my x value here would be 0. The value of x is 0. Let's go over here. This b on the left moved down to the bottom. What would make you move something to the bottom? Well, we just did that a second ago here. We moved this to the bottom because that 8 was negative. Okay, so the same thing. That x value right there, that exponent had to have been a negative 4. That would have made me bring that b to the 4th down to the bottom. So my x value had to have been negative 4. Okay, now we move to our third question. Same kind of thing. I'm going to figure out what exponent here would have made me take this c and move it up to be with the number 6. Well, if it was a negative 5 exponent, I would have brought it up to the top so I could make it positive. Okay? Okay, when we come over to number 4, it looks super complicated. Okay, but don't fret, because what we're really going to focus on is just the variable, the a. So all I want you to look at is a16, a to the 16th, a to the 12th, and a to the x. Okay? A to the 12th times a to what number would lead you to get a to the 16th? Well, when you multiply two bases, what you do is you add the exponents. So 12 plus what number would give you 16? That would be 4. So 12 plus 4 gives you 16. Okay? Last two down here, this would be a good chance to pause the video, try the problems yourself, and then play the video to see if your answers are correct. Again, we're just going to be looking at the a to the 7th, a to the x, and I want to end up with a to the 10th. That x value had to have been 3. Okay? One more here. Let's not worry about this b to the 0. It's not over here anyway because it's just 1. What number for a to the x would have made you bring that a down to the bottom? Well, a negative 6 would have made me move it to the bottom and then change that exponent to a positive 6. Okay, that concludes our page 5 in our yellow notes packet.